Hi, and welcome back to the webinar. I hope that you enjoyed that short break. And we are going to continue with the program. And I have the pleasure of introducing our next presenter, which is Terence from Windesheim University of Applied Sciences. And Terence is going to give his presentation from the international conference called An Approach to Implement Continuous Improvement in Education Teams or in Teams. And it's a special pleasure for me. I have met Terence a couple of times. And this is also goes to prove to the value of the network. I've been there with my team on an Erasmus Plus funded exchange, visiting Terence at his university, being able to see some of the work that they do by myself. So Terence is the team manager at the Logistics Management Study Program at Windesheim. And said met a couple of times. Terence even took part in one of our community of practices, which also goes to show the relevance and the value of the network. Now, Terence has in recent years been involved in setting up the Lean team at Windesheim, and from the role as coach, as teacher, and also consultant, he helps colleagues and teams take steps in the field of continuous improvement. These steps also apply, or he applies this within the team of teachers. So it's not only a support for professional services, but also within the core industry of the university. So, Terence, we look forward to hearing and seeing your presentation, and I will also just encourage you who are listening to this to continue just write down your questions for Terence. And after your session, we will then again monitor the questions and have a Q&A session. But Terence, please, let us hear from you.
Yes, thank you for your introduction, Sven Are. I will start with sharing my screen, so then I can talk to you the best. I think you can see my screen now, is it correct? Okay, thank you very much. Yes, good morning, everybody, or people from other parts of the world who are still here, good evening. I'm Terence Bos. This was the starting slide for my presentation in San Diego, where we had the conference. This was a really great place. And now I am over here to give you an example of my view. This is how it looked like at the moment in the Netherlands. It's gray and there's no rain, but the weather cannot be compared to San Diego. I will first introduce myself and then I will go to the content of the presentation. Sven Are already told you something about me in the quote, which summarized what's my ambition is helping teams and professionals in education with continuous improvement in learning, and that's in a broad sense which I want to do. And in the yellow box is my current positions. I'm a teacher, lean coach and consultant, and the manager of the Bachelor of Logistics Management. That's a program in which we teach 250 students, and we have a team of about 20 professionals who teach these students. And also the lean coach and consultant, that's a role in the lean team of Windesheim. And in the lean team are not 100 people, but there are just 9 people who are part-time in the team. And we also do some training. And the last point I want to tell about myself is that I also want to help primary and secondary education schools with continuous improvement and learning. About Windesheim, University of Applied Sciences, we have 2 locations, one in Zwolle in the Netherlands and one in Almere. We have almost 30,000 students and we have about 3,000 employees. And I think most people in Europe don't need the arrow to point out where the Netherlands is, but in America, that was really necessary. Our university has 4 departments. We have a school of economics and law. We have a school of a technical school, health sciences, and we have educational sciences. And I'm located in the economic and law school. Also, a short story about my personal life. Last year, San Diego was one of the best things which happened, but also my holiday in Italy was really great. Here you see a picture of my family and the family of a good friend of mine. And you also see the background, you see a picture of Bulgaria. That's a small village in Italy. It's between Rome and Milano. It's at the, let's see, west coast of Italy, and it's really great. And especially the Italian food is really great. And but what's really difficult for me is to pick the right food, because I love all the Italian food, but the menu helps me to pick the right food, and sometimes it's still difficult. But to stay with the menu, I want to give you also a menu, but a menu for continuous improvement. And the concept, the restaurant is called EduFlow. It has 2 words in it, edu from education, because the focus is on education, not only on support in education, but also the primary process, so the teaching of education. And in EduFlow, there's also the word of flow. And flow means that the learning for students should go smoothly. They get the right content, they get the right instructions, so they can develop them in the best way. But also flow, when you're in a flow, you're happy, you have a lot of energy. Also, that part is important, because the menu for continuous improvement is a lot about culture, not only process analysis, but a lot about culture and some kind of culture of happiness and flow. When people get the best of themselves, they can also give the best to the students. So that's why it's called EduFlow. And I will go on with the menu in a couple of minutes. But first, about the approach. I call it an approach because there are a lot of approaches, but it's a concept to implement continuous improvement in education teams, and education between brackets, because it's not necessarily limited to education teams, but I collect examples from education, and I want to share them with our community so we can inspire each other and help each other. It's some kind of a 10-step approach, and of course you can make it 20 steps or shorter. The 2 pictures are really important. In the first picture is about KISS. The concept, I really would like to keep it simple, stupid simple, or smart and simple, especially which words you like, but don't make it too complex. Especially let people apply the methods by themselves instead of they need an expert, a consultant. I try to train the people to use them by themselves. So that's why the KISS principle is on the slide. And also you see the shoes of Nike. And the slogan of Nike is just do it. I don't know how it's in other parts of the world, but at my university we make a lot of plans. And we make even more plans, and we write them down on paper and on a lot of more paper, and we have documents of 60 pages, and 2 people are reading them, and for the rest nobody reads it. And but this approach is just do it, go and experiment, because it's always positive. Or you get the right results, and if you don't get the right results, if you fail, you learn from it. So you have a learning how do you say it, a learning result, and you can use that for the future. So this is about the approach, and now we go to the session. The first question to you is to get a piece of paper so you can make some notes, or maybe you have something digitally, but if you have just a blank paper, that's enough. And you can, at the end, I'm going to ask you to share it if you want to. So it's helpful to write down your name and your email address on it. And I will go through the 10 steps and you don't have to make notes about each step, but if there is a step which is interesting for you, you can write down the step or what is it about. You can write down what you learned from it, and especially with your learning, I mentioned what are you going to take to your own team or a team which you train. But also you can give own examples. I will give for each step a short example from my own practice. But if you have interesting examples, please write them down so we can collect them and combine them. And there is a last column. You can decide whatever you want to write down on it. And if you don't need it, you can only use 3 columns. So a good menu always starts with the starters. And the starters are smaller steps, but are really important to start your meal. I have 2 starters for you. And the first starter, which is really important, is about vision. Each university and each team should have a vision, and a vision can be about the world. What's the world going to be? What are the most important transitions in the world? But it can also be, when you look to the student, what's the next step in the career of the student? Is he or she going to another school, to another job? Do you have a vision on that? A vision on learning. How do students learn? Especially in my team, we want the students to learn by doing, so we promote that. But also on organizing and collaboration in your team. How do you want to organize your team? How do you want to collaborate together? And of course, there are some restrictions from law and regulations. But when I apply this in a team, it always starts with a vision, and I will give 2 examples. Just for the story I'm going to tell you about my own university. And at my university, this is the central strategic plan. It consists of 3 pillars: closer to the world, closer to each other, and closer to yourself. And the closer to the world pillar, it describes what are the biggest challenges in the world, which the students will come in, but also which are the important transitions to which our research has to contribute. Closer to each other is also important, especially after the COVID pandemic. I don't know how it's in your country, but our students are more isolated, are more on their own. So it's important we create communities so they can learn together as students, but also learn together with teachers and learn together with researchers and people from the business field. So closer to each other is about making communities with each other. And the last one, closer to yourself, that's about the personal learning route from a student. Everybody learns in his own pace, in his own way. So we want to create personal learning routes for students. So this is the vision of our whole university, and we translated that to a vision to our team. So this is for the logistics management team with the 20 professionals and 250 students. And of course, I understand most of you don't understand Dutch, so I will tell shortly what it's about. This is the vision of our program, and verbinden en verbeteren is above, and it means connect and improve. Logistics management is about connecting processes, connecting people, analyzing those patterns and improve them. So it's a lot about lean. And as with our team, we create a why, a how, and a what. And the why, there is stated learning to change to a digital and sustainable processes in future-proof supply chains. So we want to prepare students for that. And then below on the poster, it's how we do that and what we do. And for time reasons, I won't go into that. But that's the start, and that's the first starter about the vision. When you have the vision, you can go to the next starter, and that's strategy. when you know where you want to go to, you have to create a path to it, and it's a path with a long term and short term. So it's important to create both goals for long term, which are maybe more aggregate, and short term goals, which are more concrete. But it's also important to relate company strategy to the Gemba, so to the classroom or other places where the real magic happens in education. Now, of course, create smart goals, create ownership of the goals, and it's important to facilitate improvement, especially in a team. At our university, it's normal that teachers and researchers focus on executing their job and not necessarily on improving their jobs. So when I do this with a team, I speak to the manager or the director, and also have a discussion about the facilitation of improvement. If you want people to improve, you have to facilitate the time. And also here I have an example for you, that's our X matrix. Here you see the X matrix. I recommend also the book which Tammy and Bill presented at the conference in San Diego about Hoshinkanri, policy deployment in higher education. And as a team, we also make an X matrix, and in X matrix you connect the long-term goals with the short-term goals. We also make a link to the strategy of the university. But also on the right side, you see the names of all the team members, and each team member is connected to one or more goals. And for now, it's not, you don't have to read because it's in Dutch, but this is a way in which you can connect strategy to operation. You can connect top level plans to the Gemba. And also it's an overview instead of a plan of 30 pages. It's just a one pager, which is when you walk through a building, you can see it, and the whole team is connected to it. So that was about the starters. There you see the menu. We just talked about the starters, the vision and the strategy. And starters are in practice in a restaurant are mostly small portions. So my suggestion is to pick them both. If you do continuous improvement in a team, always have a discussion about what's your vision, where do you want to go to, and also about the strategy. So how do you want to come there? Because otherwise you can create a culture of improvement, but you don't know where it's going to. Okay, after that we go to the chef specials. These are bigger portions, and this is a selection of 6 chef specials. Especially in a team where continuous improvement is new, don't apply them all to the team, just pick 1 or 2. But if you have already some in your team, you can choose the next one. And it's a selection which we apply in teams, and of course there are a lot more. Okay, the chef specials, let's start. The first chef special is visual management. Based on the vision and the strategy, you created goals with your team, and then it's important to visualize the progress on the goals, and also to make the whole PDCA cycle alive. In our practice, we do a lot of PD, plan, do, plan, do, plan, do, but we don't check and we don't act. But visual management can add value to that. We have also created a wall for learning and improvement. I will show some pictures of that. And we also create a specific kind of meeting structure to support this. The example which I'm going to show you is the OBEA of logistics management. But another example is the performance board of the Lean HE community in the Netherlands and Belgium. For time reasons, I'm not going to show that, but with our colleagues from the Netherlands and Belgium, we created some goals, and we made a performance board to show the progress on the goals. But the OBEA from the team of logistics management is this one. It suggests OBEA room, that it's a room, but it's not a room, it's in the hallway. So everybody in our university and each visitor can see this. So this is a public place, and in this public place we created for our 250 students and our team of 20 people a room, and OBEA stands for Learning and Improving Together. And also sometimes it's called a war room, from which you can create a strategy and adapt to the strategy. I will show the 4 parts in more detail now. The first part is the left part of the board of the wall. It's about the strategy, the vision, and the X matrix. If you look to the picture, you see the slides I just showed you about our university strategy in the yellow and orange fields. You see the vision of logistics management in green and blue, but you also see the X matrix, and that's available over there. The second part is about the progress of the goals. And here you see the just do it, because we started with this year. So this is not a best practice of how you should create such a board. But here we started, we have our goals on it. There's some information about the current state and the future state, and we want to visualize the progress. And at the moment, it's even better, but I didn't have the right picture with me. So if you want the best picture, please send me an email and I will show you a better photo. But at this place, we visualize the progress of the goals. Then we come to the third part, and that's about successes. For us, it's not normal when we end the project. We normally start a new project, and after we finish that, we start a new project again. But it's important to celebrate successes. I will come back on that later. So here we also create on this wall some prizes we get about rankings or team building, but things we are proud of, or team members or students we are proud of, we place a picture. And the last part, it's about running our business. And running our business is, for logistics management, is giving classes to students, coach them in internships, do research with students. And I will come back on this later on, but especially this is our primary process. This is the place where we add value. And I will come back on that in a couple of minutes. So the fourth the fourth step, the second chef specialist, learning culture. It's important to have discussions with each other. What is learning culture? What kind of behavior do you want to see? And also to make continuous improvement part of the job of the whole team. So not only one person or only a manager does the improvement, but every team member does a part of the improvement. And like I just showed you with the X matrix, every team member is connected to a team goal. So based on that, everyone should do some kind of improvement, and it can be a lot or less, but at least everyone is contributing to it. And also about learning culture, like Stephanie also mentioned, the growth mindset is important. And for us also the self-determination theory of Ryan and Daisy is important. It's about autonomy, about relationships, and it's about competence. And these are crucial for motivation of people. What I want to show here, there are a lot of things, but for time reasons, I want to show our meeting structure. Because at our university, we have a lot of meetings, we talk a lot, and we decided we talk too much and we should do more. So we created a more simple meeting structure. And this is the meeting structure we created each week at Mondays at 8:45 till 9:30. We have a central meeting, and the rest of the week we don't have central meetings with our whole team. So just 45 minutes each week. And we have a cycle. In the first week, we talk about all kind of things which are related to running the business. Every team member can give item which should be on the agenda. The second week, in week B, we talk about improving the businesses. Each team member will work in a subgroup on the team goals, which are connected to the subgroup. The third week, week C, then we talk again about running the business. So if there's something with a student or there's something from the management we should discuss, it can always be on the agenda. And one of the most important things is week D. Then we have the meeting in our Obeya room. So the photos I just showed you, in week D, we are with our team of 20 people in the Obeya room. That's a non-digital meeting, so everybody is present physically. The other ones are more hybrid, so people also use Teams or other kind of ways to digitally connect. But in week D, we are physically present, and then we update the team about the progress on the team goals. We give feedback on the updates, and if subgroups have other questions, they can also give feedback on that. And we discuss the student evaluations of our courses. For example, one important thing is to attract new students. When you look to the population of the Netherlands, we see there are the young people is getting smaller, and the older people are the part of the population is getting bigger. So it's important for us to attract new students. So a part of my team is busy with that, and they give updates on that, and we give feedback. For example, they say we should give workshops at secondary education. How should we do that? We have these 3 options. Please give feedback on that. Such kind of things we discuss with each other. So this is one part of how to create a culture to give a meeting structure which adds value to the continuous improvement and don't gives us too much time for irrelevant discussions. Close look to the clock, 11:40 already. Leadership is important. For me, it's especially about servant leadership. Make sure as a leader that the team can execute their work, everybody's happy, that improvement is on track. So, and lead by example. If you want people, give people the opportunity to make mistakes and learn from them. You also have to make sometimes mistakes as a leader and tell stories about it and what you learned from that. Then that's also to stimulate learning and experimenting. And now for this, based on the time, I will go a little faster. I think this one is important. We have a fit cycle for each team member, and fit stands for the Dutch words functioneren, inzet en toekomst. And in English, it means functioning, about how someone is functioning, about the work plan. So what is your plan for the coming half year? And about the future, what do you want in the long run? And each team member makes a year plan, and in that plan there are personal goals, but also team goals. What are you going to add to the team goals? We have a talk about preferred changes in work, but also on the education, which somebody needs. And for me, it's important to customize the meetings with all the team members. There are members in my team who want such a talk once a year, but also there are people who want talk about it each month. So I try to differentiate in that. The next one is personal development. We want to improve the processes and our education, but we also want to improve ourselves. And we use CADA for that. In San Diego, I also gave a workshop about CADA coaching and about Buddy CADA. I will tell something short about it in a minute. But it's important in a learning and continuous improvement culture that you develop yourself. And especially learning on the job is, there are a lot of opportunities to learn more from that, because each day we do a lot, but do we have time to reflect on that? And if we create more reflection, we can learn a lot. And with Buddy CADA, that's possible. And I have a short slide about that. Buddy CADA, CADA coaching has 2 routines. One routine for improvement. It's about what's your challenge and how do you want to receive the challenge. and you have the coaching kata. The coaching kata are these 5 questions. And I introduced the buddy kata in my team, and then you connect 2 people in the team with each other, and they are both coach and coachee. So in one role, you are the coach and your colleague is the coachee, and the coachee has a challenge, and you are going to ask these 5 questions to your colleague, and your colleague gives answers and reflects on that and determines what's the most important next step. And you see also the clock with 50 minutes. You can do that in 50 minutes each 2 weeks. And after those 50 minutes, you change the roles. Then the coachee becomes the coach, and the coach becomes the coachee, and the other one is asking questions to each other. So this is a simple method. On paper, at least it's simple. When you start experimenting with it and asking the questions, sometimes it's more difficult than you expect. But you have the focus on your challenge, and each time you have the best next step, and each time you have an important reflection. So the people in my team who are doing this have each 2 weeks have the best next step for themselves and an important reflection, so they can grow in their personal development. Another one is data-driven. At our school, it's not normal at every place to use data to improve. And especially when you are going to look to the schedules, you hear a lot of complaints. The schedules aren't right, and there are a lot of how do I say that? The students always think the schedule can be better. And when I ask our planner, he tells me that teachers always deliver the input too late, but it's all there is no data about it. So I stimulate to collect data, so you can make analysis on the data and give feedback on it. And here I want to show our student journey, which you already saw in the picture of the Obeya room. We collect data on all our courses. So here you have a dashboard. We created this in Power BI. And in this dashboard, this is the semester of the 4th year, the first half year. And here you see scores about how content students are, about testing, about choices they can make, about the content of the study, about the learning, how much they've learned, about the teachers, about the practice, about the atmosphere in the education. And we discuss these numbers with our team. So these numbers, we can see if it's based on the previous year, if there is an improvement or not. But most important, we do not only discuss these numbers, but we also create improvement actions. So in this table, it's again in Dutch, but in the second column, you see vakken, that means courses. There you see courses, for example, the first one is the course about change management. And the teacher from that course has analyzed the previous course and made some improvement actions. And where you see the verbeter actie 1, verbeter actie 2, verbeter actie 3, there he defined the improvement actions. So in this way, we gather data about our courses, we analyze it, the most important things we discuss with the whole team, and based on that, we create improvement actions, and it's all in the system, so we can find them back. The last one of the chef specials is Kaizen, because a lot of these things is about continuous improvement in the whole team, and it's really decentralized. But sometimes there are bigger problems, and for these bigger problems, you have to create a separate project. And I always I always name it. You want to boost an improvement, and I think a lot of people in our network know Kaizen, know brown paper sessions. But when we have bigger problems, we do such kind of projects. And this is a SIPOC analysis, but I don't want to go into that for now because I see the time is running. We have talked about the starters, for which my advice is choose them both. We have the chef specials. From that you can pick which ones you think are important. You can add other ones to it. But I think you're curious about the dessert because it's always one of the best things. And yeah, I also have something for you from that. The first one I already mentioned a bit is about successes. It's important, like Kool and the gang already created a song about celebrate good times. So especially as a leader or as a consultant, make sure that people celebrate their successes. And even in a project, short-term success is important because some projects, at least I saw in Stephanie's presentation, it are projects of 14 weeks. For us, it are almost projects of 20 weeks and sometimes even longer. To get everybody on track, it's important to celebrate them and give the short-term successes. And in a team, it can make people proud, people feel appreciated, and it will give some positive energy. Like I already showed you in our Obeya room, yeah, we print things out and put them on the wall. But you also see a poster, and this is a poster from an improvement traject. That's not the right word. No, a year program which we did at the support staff of education. And with that staff, you can see at the plan, we created an X matrix with them. At the do, we created a performance board. And when you look in the purple box, there are the results. So after 1 year, we stated what are the most important results, but also in the green, what are the lessons learned, the most important ones. So we helped them by making this poster and which they can put on the wall so they visualize and can celebrate their successes. And then the last dessert is continuous improvement. It's important always also celebrate good times. It's not the right thing. It's keep on moving should be there. The world keeps changing, so you have to be more agile as an organization. And also practice what you preach, or our favorite quote is practice what you teach. Keep learning, keep growing, and make sure which trends are relevant and connect them to your education. And examples for me is especially to facilitate the PDCA to PDCA. So after we run a project or do something, make sure that it keeps on moving. And that's what I showed here. So for me as a leader in my team, I really want after each act that we make a new plan and connect to that. And leading by example, I want to get connected and learn. So especially when I was in San Diego, but also now at the HE Encore, I really want to share information and collect new information so we can all learn together. And I hope every team member in my team will also do this. So I know it was a bit of a rush. I talked a lot, but we have seen the whole menu about from the starters to the dessert, the chef specials. And now my question to you is, you have written down some things, and if you think it's not useful to share, it's not necessary, but if you have some interesting own examples from one or more of the steps, I really appreciate it if you want to share them with me. I will collect them and I will make an overview and I will share that with you later on. So if possible, please make a photo of your paper and mail me or message me. My email address and phone number are on this slide. And yeah, I'm really curious about your ideas about this. So here's the menu again, and we have still 5 minutes left for some questions.
Thank you so much, Terence, for your presentation. And let me just start off a question session by just stating it's great to see such a structured way for a team, a education team, to work on continuous improvement. And I know for sure that at our university that would be needed in many teams. Not that we don't create learning cultures, but to do this in a so structured manner. So there are a few questions. The first one is quite practical. In the 4-week meeting structure that you talked about, is there an agenda for each of the 4 meetings?
Yeah, there is an agenda for the running the business meetings. It's just a Word document, a shared file in which every team member can write down items for the agenda. For the OBEA meeting, we have a standard agenda. So we look to the update on the update on the strategic goals, then the update on the year goals, and then we go to the student evaluations.
Thank you. Just to make sure that there are a few comments as well. It's not a question, but people like the metaphor that you are using. So maybe people are inspired also to go to Italy. Are other parts of the university using the EduFlow practice?
Yeah, we started this at the support staff, but not from specifically this model, but we start creating an X matrix with a team. And it's important to visualize goals. So we did all kind of experiments, and it come together in the EduFlow concept. And we firstly did it at other teams, but then we had a discussion with our own team. We should do it by ourselves too. Practice what you preach. So we started in our own team by doing this. But especially you see when you look to the chef specials, it's always different which ones a team applies.
Thank you. There are a couple of questions regarding the X matrix. You mentioned a lot the X matrix. Is that based on a model? And would you recommend any resources to read on X matrix?
Yeah, especially the book from the conference, the Hoshin Kanri book from Bill Balzer and Tammy Shina. There's a lot about the X matrix and more on that. To my opinion, the X matrix is really helpful because you can link the top strategy to the work floor together. You can connect people to goals, and it's all on one page instead of a huge document where it's all in and you have to read about it. And there are a lot of formats for it. I have formats, so if anybody needs a format, they can send me an email and I can share them. Yeah, for me, it's really helpful. And in the teams where we work, it really gives a focus to the team on what's important.
Thank you. So the model here, the wider model is called Hoshin Kanri, and you're encouraged to, and we will put the name of that book in the Q&A section as well, so that people could easily get access to that book. And also, there's a follow-up on that. How do you find that people understand the X matrix when they are first introduced to it?
Yeah, that's important. It's based on their knowledge. If I'm in a consulting role or coaching role, I really want to facilitate the process in filling it and asking questions, but what's on it? It should be on the manager or the director who's responsible. It really depends on the people you have, because I use an Excel file. In our organization, we have people who love Excel and work on it each day, and we have people who don't know how they can fill in an extra column or something. So it really depends on the people you have, but some support is needed, and also to ask questions. For example, how is this year goal related to a long-term goal? If there's no relation, should it be on the X matrix? And especially people want to mention a lot of goals. So if you have 20-year goals, that's far too much. For sure, you are going to reach a lot of them, but also a lot not. So it's better to get more focus on that.
Thank you. I will just briefly mention that we have one of the editors slash authors of the book. Tammy is in here, and she has also put a direct link to the book here. So as it was mentioned, so that's fine. And there's also a mention of would love to see a template here. So maybe there's a way to share a template on that, and we'll see. And I see there's a lot of interest around the X matrix in the Hoshin Kanri, and we could also probably divert people to some of the online resources that are here also through the LeanHG Europe network. To cap off this section of the webinar, we are going to enter into a short break, but I have one question as well, Terence, and it's just about the Obeya room, the war room, or the room where you have all your details, all the strategic stuff, but also the measurements about how is it going with your education. Was there any kind of reaction to the members on displaying this publicly? I mean, I've been at your place, I've seen your Obeya room, I can see that students are walking around and everybody could go up and see all these measurements. Has there been any kind of discussion on that?
Yeah, there is a discussion, because you have to, upfront, you have to think about what information is public and what information isn't public. For example, to score a teacher, that's not on the wall, only the whole teaching team. So after a whole semester, students can grade the teaching team. So if they really hate the whole teaching team, then you can see it, and then we have a problem as a team. But you cannot see the classes from Terence Boss. I really hated it, and he's a bad teacher, so he has a low grade. So such things we've talked about, what do we want to share and what not, and especially the improvement actions. Those are not available on the wall. Those are in the Power BI application, and therefore you need a computer to zoom into it. So that's available for the whole team, but not for as you are running through our building, you cannot see them.
So thank you so much, Terence, for sharing your experience with this and for taking the time to share this again. And now we'll head into a short break before we head on to the next guest in our program, which will come from another side of the globe in the US. So I will do the same thing again. I will share a timer with you. We do a 5-minute short break to make sure that people could take care of any kind of business that you need, and then we'll be back. See you in 5.